Hello, microgreen garden tour. Today is June 28, 2025, and we are going to walk in the garden to show how we are growing microgreen outside in raised bed, concrete raised bed, wood raised bed, and directly in the ground as well. So we are going to first start with the one close to us, and this is mustard. That soy mustard microgreen that we planted on June 15, 2025. And today is June 28, 2025. We harvested twice this week already. The first time I pulled it and rinsed the whole plant and made salad with it. Yesterday, I pulled it and cut the bottom off and used the top part. In both instances though, I just feel like the texture is just too soft for my liking. And at this stage you can see it's growing through leaves already. If we look at this one, we have because it's cabbage family type of green plants, it has that heart shape two cotyledon. We have one true leaves here, we have another one, we have another one, and we have another one there. So it has 1, 2, 3, 4 true leaves on this one already. At the same time though, I don't know if you can see what I was pointing at, but you can see those two. That was the first cotyledon leaves. Then we have the first true leaves, and then we have those two. The first two leaves is bigger than the cotyledon. Then we have those two true leaves. That's 3. But then we have, okay, so this is another plant. In fact, we have 2 true leaves on this plant here, if I'm looking right. So 2 true leaves. The first one is bigger than the cotyledon one. The second one is smaller. So, but there is another one right behind it as well that has 2 true leaves there. So those are different stages. You can harvest your microgreen at the cotyledon stage, at the first true leaf stage, which will be this one. So you have the cotyledon, then you have the true leaves. You see this one? At that stage, that's another stage. Another stage is when the true leaves, the first true leaf is bigger than the cotyledon, which is another stage pretty much. And another stage will be you have the second true leaf. So for this, we have the cotyledon, we have the first true leaf that is bigger, and then we have the second true leaf that is growing there. For this, for instance, we have the baby cotyledon, the first leaves that fell on the seed. We have the first true leaves that is bigger than them, and we have the second true leaf that is bigger than them as well. Maybe that will be the stage that you will call baby green or microgreen, I'm not sure. But those are different stages that you can continue to harvest your microgreen. As the flavor intensifies, the more true leaves you are having, I think the flavor will intensify. But it is a learning process for myself as well. But as you can see, we didn't harvest everything right away. It's for eating. What I noticed though, I planted by row here. This one is row as well. And then I planted by square section here as well. What I noticed is it did well planting it in rows. By bed, when I move the dirt, put it there and put the dirt on it, I think I put too much dirt, because you can see, even though we have some at true leaf stage, we have some that are still kind of yellowish, you know, like they are barely pushing through the dirt. Does that make sense? And I should have removed the dirt off of them when I noticed that they are not pushing through it well. But that is a learning process. But clearly, this microgreen is clearly passing the microgreen stage for us. Do you see how it's growing? Those two leaves kind of big. But what I noticed though, trying microgreen this year, which is my first time trying microgreen. I did sprout before in the past few times, but this year is the first time I'm learning and trying to grow microgreen. I just didn't like making salad just with microgreen. I find like it's just too soft for me. And again, I don't make salad with lettuce. I don't like to grow lettuce. I grew it before in the past, but I don't grow it anymore because I feel like it's just too soft. Same thing as spinach. I don't like to cook with spinach anymore because I just feel like when you cook it, you saute it, just narrow it down to a small portion. Does that make sense? So for somebody that makes salad with cabbage, sorrel, you see how those leaves, they are not going to reduce in size when you are making salad with them. So making salad with just microgreen seems to be just too soft. So I'm trying to see at what stage I need to grow them, or what kind of vegetables seed I should grow, and at what stage I will grow it for the greens to hold their shape in the salad, be crunchy, now, you know, now wilted down. So that is a learning process for me to figure out that. Here we have another bed here that we actually planted as a regular, like for them to grow to maturity. Mustard, soy, mustard, bok choy, cabbage, peas, beets, carrots, and then onion and herbs between. But then the kids plant them too close together, and then I harvest them as microgreen, and I harvest the peas that are planted as microgreen. But because the peas, when I harvest them, at first I just cut it below the right above the ground. We left some down. I think they are trying to grow back, and at some point I pull it out and carry. Some of them just didn't come out completely. So just tell us that the piece, depending on how high you carry, it will grow back, because it tends to have a small leaf raw at the bottom of the plant. So I think it gives us enough a possibility to grow back, because right now they are trying to grow back around that area, but it was not. I know if I carry high, they will grow back, because I did it before in the ground, but it's not what I was trying to do. I just was not able to pull it out completely, depending on how deep I plant them. So this one I left it here. I didn't harvest it as a microgreen, but that section could be harvested as a microgreen as well. This bed was planted, I believe, June 8th. And again, it's June 28th, 20 days. And those are plants that are 30 days maturity. Right now, they are not looking like they are any close to be full-grown plants. I think they are supposed to be kind of small, you know, you see those Asian salad green, right? Bok choy, tasoy. Yeah, that's what they are. But I don't know, because we plant it close together, that's why they are slow at growing. I'm not sure. But growing things to full size, when it comes to annual, they take time. And depending on where you are growing them, there are creatures in the garden that tend to bother them. So I'm having that challenge this year, growing annual to maturity, at least some of them. But again, I'm now somebody that grow annual much. I grow perennial vegetables. I like to do my research to know what perennial vegetables are hardy to my zone and plant them. Put in the time to plant them, and then they are in the ground and I can propagate them. But this year I wanted to grow annual vegetables so that I can harvest a lot of greens from my garden. And very quickly I noticed that I'm having things bothering them in the ground. And those things, especially this year, the challenge was a type of animal my husband likes to call a gopher, but it's eating leaves above things. It's not eating the things from the ground, it's eating it from the top. But is that animal that people use in winter time to see if winter is done or winter will continue. So I forgot the name of it, but it's in my neighbor's property, and then it's just coming here. So here we have a 3 feet bed that's 3 feet tall, 4 feet wide, 8 feet long, and we have a lot of things growing on top of it. But before I planted in this bed, we set this bed together this year. I put radish here. So when I harvest radish, I let it be for a while, and then I move the wood chips to the side, and I plant 1 pound of peas in here on June 18, 2025. And again, today is June 28, 2025. So that's 10 days. And as you can see, they are harvestable. And if you are looking at it, you see these baby leaves here. So if you cut it, if you cut it somewhere here, it will continue to grow. But the one that we saw earlier in the other bed, I cut it somewhere here, leaving that baby leaves, and they seems to be growing, but slowly. So at this point, I don't know how many, I don't know what is the cotyledon leaves here though, but for sure we start seeing the tendrils growing. And this is oregano giant peas, snow peas. And the way I plant it is I clean up, move the wood chips out of the way, pat the ground down, and put 1 pound of peas all the way here, and then go dug dirt from the property and just put on top of it and pat it down and water it, and try to water every day unless it rains that day. And now they are growing here. In 10 days they are harvestable. But again, is all about finding what kind of greens that if I plant it as microgreen, it can make salad and hold its shape in the salad without turning into mush. Or if I have to make salad incorporating microgreen with to other greens to reach that texture. This is cabbage growing in the same bed. You see cabbage, something is eating it. But again, growing those things to full maturity, there is a lot of things you'll run into. You see that worm? Don't know if you can see, but that will be the worm that is chewing on it. My daughter planted, so I had to tell her that she will need to get those worms off of off of it. But and she plant them kind of close together too. But yeah, so those are challenges to grow an annual vegetables to maturity. There is a lot of challenges to face, and it takes time for those greens to reach maturity as well. So, and that's why I'm thinking, okay, maybe I should try microgreens. When I come across it, they use a lot of seed compared to planting something to full maturity. But I just feel like maybe it might solve that problem, because I grow perennial vegetables, and some of them I use them in cooking, and some of them I eat them raw in salad. So, and we can see sorrel. I don't want to get in the garden, but let me just show it to you here. This is sorrel. It's a perennial green hardy to our zone 5A, and right now is setting seed. And when they setting seed in summer like this, I cannot harvest much green from it, and I have a lot of it in the garden, and the leaf will be a little bit on the tough side. But that's something when you make salad with it, it hold its shape in the salad. It does not soften up. Does that make sense? And I like that. And then I'll add fruit to the salad. So, but the microgreen will try to just whittle down, and I just don't, especially when I just make salad all by itself. At least I notice it with that soy mustard. So I'm going to try peas salad as well to see, you know, maybe if I should combine peas with mustard to reach that or what. Here is potato growing. So far it's okay, but at the beginning something chew on the top of the late variety, while this one was growing just fine. And for some reason the late variety is the late season one is flowering, but they are growing okay. And those are about 90 to 110 days like to maturity. So that means you are going to wait for a while to get those, to harvest them. And while my mustard is flowering and is now producing greens, I'm able to make salad using microgreens. So it's like the microgreen, because you know, within 2 weeks time frame from when you planted, like in that peas for instance, is ready to make salad. When planted on the 18th of June and today is the 28th, I can harvest it to make salad. So having my perennial vegetables that in summer they focus on producing seed, and they slow down producing greens from me. I'm having ants problem here. The microgreens are covering the gap. Does that make sense? Because in springtime, when you are planting your onions or you are not even ready to plant them, perennial vegetables added to your zone will start growing very fast, especially the leafy green one, because they will set seed once the weather start warming up. So I was able to harvest greens from them for salad. They'll do the same in fall. But in summertime, when they are setting seed, they are going to slow, they are not going to produce a lot of greens, or the greens will be tough. They can be harvested for cooking or so, but just not going to find a lot. It's not where their energies are. And the microgreen can cover that gap, where in 2 weeks, depending on how you plant them, within 2 weeks, you'll have greens. So here we have radish, microgreens right in the ground. And this bed we started this year right in the grass, and it was just a grassy area. And in spring or so, my daughter and I, we dug it, turned it upside down, and just we planted radish here. The radish grew just fine. At some point, the grass grew back into it. So when I harvest the radish, I clean up this section, put a cardboard box here to keep it from weed. I hoe everything and move them to the side, put a cardboard box there and plant it here. And later, I harvest the remaining radish out of there, hold that area, and for what I moved to here from that section, I moved them there, including what I hold from here, and I just mount it like a raised bed and put cardboard box on it to just keep it like that, so that they can break down and fertilize that section, and then I can use it for microgreen later probably. So although I didn't clean up the whole area from grass and weed though, because I still have things growing here, and then I move some dirt to the side, pat the ground down, and plant a good amount of radish here by just scooping and pulling. When you pat the ground down, it allows you to have a flat surface to put the seed so that you can see if you spread it well. And then I move the dirt back on top of it and press it down and water it. When it starts germinating 3 days later, I put this sheet on it so that those gophers and birds don't damage it. But we planted on the 21st of June, and today is the 28th of June. So they are at the cotyledon now. In fact, if you take close look at this one, we have our cotyledon here, and we have the true leaves that is growing. We have the cotyledon because it's in the cabbage family, is having those heart shape. We have the true leaves, and we have the second true leaf there that is growing. So those two are still smaller than the cotyledon. So that is a stage you can harvest it as well. Another stage you could harvest it is just at the cotyledon stage, where you have just the cotyledon, and then you have true leaves that are smaller, and the first true leaf that will be bigger. That's another stage. That will be the third one, and then the second true leaf that is bigger than the cotyledon. The cotyledons will be maybe a fourth stage. So you could harvest it at different stages depending on flavor wise that you are trying to reach by the time you are able to harvest them all, if you are not harvesting the whole place all at once. But that is, I'll be back. The third session of our microgreen. I'm going to get this sheet out of here because it is kind of wet. No, not wet, but I think it's holding moisture. It's a little bit on the heavy side. It's just a window curtain type that I use to protect it. I'm going to, when I'm having those gopher eating things in the garden, I went and did my search. Instead of buying insect netting, I went and I purchased tulle. No, not tulle. You know, those things that people use for girls tutu skirt. Christian or Catholics use it for like a voile on the head. Or ladies getting married put on their head as well. Yeah, it's that type of fabric that I purchased. Has small holes. It was like 40 feet by 54 inches for about $20 or so. So I'm going to use that to cover it to see if the area will dry more, because I feel like moisture is getting trapped in it. So, but yeah, that is another example of microgreen, growing it right in the ground. Instead of doing it indoor. So learning to grow microgreen, I like to grow it in the ground because that's during the season. That way that will save me some soil. I don't have to buy dirt. Although to make those raised beds, I use topsoil for them. Not potting soil, but topsoil. And I think since I'm growing annual in the garden, the thing is with annual, covering them with this. For annuals that will grow to maturity and be very tall, I will need a hoop. I'm using the galvanized wire because the galvanized wire tend to fold like this, like curve like this. You can see one here. I will put it on the ground and then I will put the fabric on top of it. But then you'll tie the ends, or you make it long enough to cover the end as well. But you use more fabric. Does that make sense? So when it comes to those baby green that are growing too tall, you don't need a lot of fabrics to work with. And so I thought maybe that could solve my problem if I can grow annual to maturity in my garden. Although I'm not very good at growing annuals to begin with, maybe microgreen, since they have a short maturity date, might work better for me. And that's why I'm trying to learn to understand it. And now to trying to get the right texture that I like in my salad, to see at what stage I need to grow it, or what kind of vegetables I need to grow as microgreen to reach that crunchy salad texture is another learning I have to go through by trying different seeds. So, but yeah, so far I purchased in bulk radish, peas, although I'm out of peas already, I think. Tasoy, mustard, bok choy, cabbage. And to try them. And then I have regular seeds of color green. I think I purchased turnip in a bulk as well. And I will just try them to see which one is giving me that crunchy texture of greens at microgreen stage, or at what growth stage should I grow them without letting them reach maturity for me to use them in salad. Because again, if you grow radish to maturity, you won't be able to do salad with it. It's kind of prickly leaves, so you can cook with it, but you can't really use it like salad. So you have to grow it and harvest it before it reaches maturity. And I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but I have turnips growing somewhere there among the beads and the weeds. But having turnips grow that stage, I won't be able to use it in salad necessarily, but I can cook with the leaves. So it's just those things that I'm trying to plant them originally to reach maturity, but I decided that maybe I should try microgreen with them instead. So I'm just going to, because it's long fabric and I don't want to carry, I just now the rest and put the brick on top of it here just to keep it like that above it. Another thing I noticed it too is the green. Again, here I don't know if I told you how I planted, but I scrape the dirt. Yeah, I think I'd say that. So when it start growing, it crack the dirt, and then it grew, but some of them remain underneath. So yesterday I decided to pull those dirt off and I put them here. And that's why you can see where I pulled them from. They are still yellow because they were under the ground. So while they start doing through, some of them start growing through green, some of them are still at the cotyledon stage. But you can see how tall they are. You see? So quite tall. I would say maybe 4 inches though. And I harvested yesterday here for eating, and the way I harvested, I'll pull it, cut the bottom off, and if I'm trying to measure it, so that's 2 inches that I cut off, and I just put them here on the side here. And but again, we have a lot to work with here, and I think it's like 2 feet or so by maybe 1.5 foot space that I planted. And I didn't measure the seed. I was just scooping it from the container and put it here. And I have 1 pound of daikon radish, and that's what I planted here. So I'm going to put that things back on top of it. But this is our microgreen garden tour zone 5A, June 28, 2025. So I'm just going to let it, kind of not too tight. That way, as they are growing taller, it's going to be holding it. It's going to, you can spin through it. And technically I should put something on that side, but I'm just going to leave it like that for now. But yes, it is a challenge to grow those things to maturity in the garden, because again, things will chew on them. Do you see the turnips? Something is chewing on it. So when those onions are in the garden to grow to maturity, they face those challenges. But when you grow it to cotyledon stage and harvest them, there is a lot of chance that you are not going to be dealing with those type of issue that early. So that is one thing I'm noticing as well. I have collard green growing there. And I put that things on it, but there is a lot of weed in the garden, so the grass is pretty much holding the fabric up for the color green. And the color green, some of them are actually outside of the bed as well. That is that green leaves somewhere there, but you can see them in the bed. But yeah, and I'm thinking about maybe should I harvest it. At that stage, I don't know if it's too far gone to use it as a baby green or not in salad. So that's something I like to try, make salad with it all by itself to see the texture, knowing when I plant it, to see if I can use it as a baby green. So that is just those 4 beds that I wanted to show you that we are growing plant in as microgreens. And we can check on that color greens. I planted turnips here in April, and I harvested them, and I wanted to use this session to do microgreen as well. But you can see some turnips are still growing because I cut them and leave the bottom. I plant them thickly. This bed was not closed, so it's not a good thing. Not that it helps, since I'm having deer getting in. I'm not sure what distance is here, but yeah, this is the color green. Okay, so there's a good amount that is out. It could be because this thing is pulling up, so it's exposing some here. So I'll definitely make salad with it. The grass is pulling on the sheets, and although it's making room for the color green, at the same time it's exposing them. So I don't know, if that is small enough for me to make to use it as a salad, but they have been growing here for more than a month, and you can see them that they are still at a baby stage, and you can see something chewing on it. It's because when I planted, I didn't cover it. It was growing just fine until something came and chewed on them, and then I went and covered it like that. Again, for that something that came is that gopher animal. So I have one growing here, but of course with weed, and then I have a lot of ants, not weed, but I think there is this. You can see something chew on it. Is artichokes. It produces tuber at the bottom, so we have a lot of ants moving around in the garden. But yeah, just to show it to you that growing things to maturity can be challenging. Here I put some bok choy mustard here, and right now I can barely see them. Not as a microgreen, but to grow to full maturity. But I have creeping Charlie, which is edible, by the way. Can make salad with it. But you can see them here. Something chew on it, and they could be more than a month old already. And I planted them here. You see, we are not going anywhere trying to grow those things. They are 30 days to 32 days for planting to maturity. Those bok choy, and they have been here for, I would say, a month, and they are not going anywhere. I planted some there, and you can see them. Something is chewing on them again. So that is those challenges trying to grow onions those things didn't bother me much in the past because I focus on perennial vegetables, and I'll plant some annuals. If they grow, they grow. If they don't, they don't. But this year, I wanted to give a time, give it attention to see how much attention I need to give it, what kind of care I need to give it for them to grow. Because annual, I think it's good to plant annuals and perennials so that you can use your annual to supplement your perennial and use your perennial to supplement your annual, depending on which side you lean toward more. But it's a challenge to grow annuals because of, again, maybe your side. You can see my garden is full of weed, and my perennials, they do just fine in that type of environment. But not so much annuals. You can see rhubarb growing there with things growing around it. So, not so much with annuals. So they do not like those type of competitions. They don't do well. You can see I have things growing in the garden. And if we get there, we will see them with weed that we are trying to clean in the garden, but not successfully. And our perennials are doing just fine in that environment. But that environment does not work every time for annuals. So some years I might grow some annuals, they'll do well, and some years they won't. So I have radish there that I planted and they went to seed and I left it. So, but you can see certain things are chewing on them. Are chewing on the top, but I can harvest the pod for salad. So, but yeah, and I think not much is bothering the turnips and radish, like those things that are chewing on them. They are not bothering them as much as color, cabbage in the ground in the garden. They chew on it. That's why we are using the shade around in the garden, and that's the reason why we put that 3 feet bed up as well. Because I said that if I'm going to grow annual, I know for a fact they don't work well in my garden because of the competition in my garden with weed and perennials. They don't do well. Therefore, I will have that raised bed to grow them. But still, I try to grow those onions in the garden. And some of them are doing well, some of them are not. I have beans growing here. Nothing is bothering me yet, which is great. And I just dumped them here from prior year seed that I saved. And I didn't think they will do well, they will grow. I just try to mulch the ground with it, and they are growing. So you can see that some onions are doing just fine, when some, I'm having issue with it. So it's all about trying and see what will work for you. So it's in that in that attempt that I'm trying to maybe try microgreen to see if that's good for me. That's a zucchini growing here some year. They will do it for me some year. They won't. They seem to be doing fine this year. But again, with that type of competition, it doesn't work well every time. So I have another one there as well. I try to grow carrot and beets and something chew on them, so I cover it there. Now weed is having a field day in it with them, but yeah, that's why I have the raised bed to see some key elements that I'm having issue with in the ground. I can grow them in the raised bed. But then when I come across the microgreen, I say, wait a minute, if I'm having issue growing some plants to maturity, because the reason why I'm growing them is to have more greens. It's the greens I'm after for stir frying and sauteing in winter time. Harvest them, wash them, chop them, and freeze them is what I'm trying to do. But if I'm having issue with them in the garden, maybe growing them as a microgreen might work for me. I will use them as salad in summertime and as a stir fry or saute vegetables in winter time. So, but I had to say microgreen, you use L.L.C. I don't know how sustainable that is. And again, I like to grow a garden to save money. That's what I like: perennials, fruit trees, and vegetables that are hardy to my zone 5A, as well as herb and spices hardy to my zone 5A. But I'm noticing that it might just be a good idea to incorporate perennials with onions, because onions, they grow fast in a short period of time, in 1 year time frame, while perennial grows slowly to reach their production time. Thank you so much for your time. We thank you very much for watching our videos. We thank you very much for your time. We thank you very much to all that subscribe to our channel. I'm Afiabi Liberman, creator of Liberman Consulting L.L.C YouTube channel, and in soap.com, our blog. On our channel and on our blog, we share different ways you can save money and different ways you can make money to reach your financial independence, where you do not depend on an employer to provide for your family. And growing your own food is one way to save money. At least that is the goal. But to set up the infrastructure, though, can be pricey depending on which approach you go about it. And growing things in the ground might be the least expensive, but still, because fencing your garden can be pricey. But just those are things that you have to set in place, and they can last for some years. And depending on how you go about it, it can be a landscaping. You can landscape your property as well. Like having a raised bed might be more aesthetic or pleasing to the eyes than growing in the ground. So it's all about the option you like to go with and your style. So I'm trying different one. I'm not very good at growing in a raised bed. I like to grow in the ground, but I know that if I want to do a raised bed, well, I might do a very tall so that I can stand up and tend to it. But having those bricks on the property, we purchased them some years ago to use it as a pathway. So I propose them to make raised bed this year with the kid, and we fill it with some topsoil. Yeah, topsoil. I have one there that I can show you. That was the less expensive soil. We purchased $2, pretty much close to $3 a cubic feet, but it's full of wood. It's like wood chips broken down. It's not heavy at all. In fact, it's not even 1 cubic feet. It's 0.75 cubic feet. And that is why we fill the bed with it. And if you look well, it's not really soil. You can see all those wood chips broke down. So can see those roots broken down. So that is very light, but again, I'm okay with it. And that was the least expensive. But for the raised bed, that 3 feet, we purchased 3.5 cubic yard of topsoil, $100 per cubic yard to fill it up to somewhere here. No, probably somewhere down there, I'm not even sure. And then I scrape topsoil from below comfrey in the garden to put on top of it, and then I put wood chips on top of it and let it be for some weeks before I start plant that section, and later I plant the middle. So when I put that topsoil in it, there was no worm in that topsoil, but the dirt that I dug from comfrey, because the comfrey will die down to the ground in winter and grow back, it's harder to ozone. So I dug those leaves and dirt from there to put a small layer on the bed. So, but yeah, this is a pricey bed from untreated wood, cedar wood, and plank 1 inch wide, and we did it this year. So it's very pricey, but based on my research, some people say you can use treated wood as well, but I think using bricks is the less expensive approach. And during the research, people say that there is no ashing in it, so there is no leaching into your soil that you need to worry about. So we use those, and I think they are not alkaline, the bricks, but the cedar can be, the cedar blocks can be alkaline. So, but I have them in the garden for years as well, and grow some stuff there at the ground level, but just use that to delimit the bed. So it's not raised at all, other than concept wood chips application that will break down over time, that will raise it, and fall leaves. So those are, different approaches that you can see which one work for your budget and your style to start growing food. If you have your, you have a property and a land you can work with. But yeah, you can choose to have grass and maintain it. It requires maintenance too, though, to make it look pretty. Or you can use the yard to grow food, to supplement your groceries. And that is one goal of our house. Different ways we save money and different ways we make money. We like to share our learning experience with you on our channel and on our blog, to just give you some tips in case you are looking for some tips to help you in your own research and in your own approach as well. So thank you so much for your time. Do you grow vegetables? Do you grow microgreen? Will you please share your experience with us as well? Thank you. Oh, and by the way, this bed, I believe is what? I'm not sure. But I planted 5.5 ounces of microgreens in here. And yeah. So far I harvested 5 ounces. 5.33 ounces as well from 3 rows right there that are planted by row. So that's something I'm trying as well, planted very thickly by row close to each other versus section, covering it, and then cover it with dirt. So far I just find like the row is working well with me than a section covered with dirt. The dirt is now moving off of all of them the way I will want it. But you will use the space more efficiently by section that way, and more seed, and use more space by rows but use less seeds, if that even makes sense. But anyway, it's all about I'm trying it multiple ways to see which way works for me. So you just have to find which one works for you as well. It's not one way fits all. Thank you so much for your time.